Hi guys, Django here, and welcome to episode 2 of Valhelsia 5. Thanks so much for all the great feedback on episode 1. I'm glad you're here for 2. We are going to get started on Mekanism in this episode, but first, I have already burned through one pickaxe, and I want to get some enchantments going. So we're going to get an enchanting table set up, and then Mekanism, so stick around. Let's take a quick look at how to make books, because books are a little bit annoying with leather and paper and getting paper from sugarcane, but we can also get paper from tree bark. We can also get paper from sawdust, which we can get from Mekanism and Immersive Engineering sawmills, but we don't have those yet. If you happen to be near a beach, you might find some banana trees, and those are really great sources of paper, but we are not anywhere near those things. We saw how to get bark last time in a cutting board. I'm running outside and it's just about dark, so let's back up and sleep. So with this iron knife, which is another Farmer's Delight thing, it's just one iron ingot and a stick. We can harvest straw. Oh, we didn't look at that. We didn't follow that through. Instead of leather, we can use canvas. Canvas we can make from 4 straw, and we get straw from cutting grass with a knife. And we've got some grassy area. So there you go. There's a piece of straw right there. We're going to need a bunch of this. So what do we need? Like 45 books to get a full enchanting table, which means we'll need 45 times 4 straw. So like 4 stacks of it. Not quite. 3.5 stacks. So let's just go and grind in this meadow or this grassy area, and we'll see how much straw we can get over here. We'll just go crazy in this biome. We also have some cows, so we will be able to use some leather. So there's a half a stack so far. It's going pretty quick. It's good that the knife doesn't take any damage from this. All right, that took less time than I expected. Definitely less time than growing cows and getting their leather. We cleared out pretty much this whole field. Let's see what we've got here. I think we can just make the canvas right here. We've got a stack of canvas. That is enough. Let's head back. Okay, we're almost there. We just need one more book, and we need some obsidian. So let's grab some water while we're out here getting our last bits of trees. All right, I hope that is going to do it. Let's grab a bucket of water, and then we'll head down and get some obsidian. I know we've got some lava way down by bedrock, so we're just going to make that run for it. Down here we've got some. Let's light this up. Let's leave the water here. And while we're at it, let's just get enough to get another portal going as well. We're going to need 14 total. Oh, 15. Okay. All right, 1 diamond. Let's bring some lapis. Planning ahead. And oh, that needed a book too. Oh, it needs 2 diamonds. Darn it. I think that's it, right? There's an enchanting table. Let's strip these logs. Hopefully, we'll have enough. Paper. 3 more books. It's 1 more bookshelf, and I think we're in business. Enchanting table right in the middle, and we'll put a pickaxe in here, and we've got level 30. Fortune 3. Sadly, we can't afford it. What can we afford? Alright, well, we'll just upgrade our sword for now. That'll do it for the table. We'll get some more XP and come back. See if we get Fortune 3 on a pickaxe. Okay, so I just wanted to show you how quick it is to make an enchanting table out of grass and wood. I dread making an enchanting table with vanilla ways, cows, and all the sugar cane for paper. But here we are. We've got our enchanting table. We've got some iron tools. I'm out of diamonds. So we've got some iron tools that are enchanted. So now, as promised, let's jump hard into Mechanism. We're not going to limp in. We're going to go straight into Mechanism, set up power, and get all the way to ore doubling. So let's talk a little bit about ore doubling before we get started setting things up. We have our basic ore since 1.17 of Minecraft is raw ores, like raw iron. And if we take a look at raw iron and right click on it to look in REI, we can see that, there's 1 raw iron gives us 1 iron ingot. And we can do better than that. If we take a look at create, for example, a crushing wheel, we can only get 1 iron ore out of that. If we take a look at the chemical injection chamber, take 3 raw iron, we get 8 iron shards. And we can take these iron shards and go through a big process and turn those into individual iron ingots. So that's 8 for 3. But that's injection chamber, that's later game stuff. Enrichment Chamber, which we can get to pretty quickly, we can take 3 raw iron and get 4 iron dust. And we can turn the iron dust into iron ore. So we get 4 for 3. But what we're going to look at is the Purification Chamber, which takes a raw iron with oxygen, which we get from an Electrolytic Separator, it's called. And that turns into 2 iron clumps. And we can turn an iron clump into dirty iron dust and dirty iron dust into iron dust. And the iron dust goes into an iron ingot. And that's how we can really quickly double ores with Mechanism. So let's do it. Here is the ore doubler setup with Mechanism. Here's where the raw ores come in. That's a pipe. The Logistical Transporter goes into a Purification Chamber. That's what we just looked at. That gives us 2 iron clumps for 1 raw ore. Then gives us 2 clumps, which we put through the crusher. It gives us dirty iron dust. We put that in the Enrichment Chamber. It gives us iron dust, which we put into the Energized Smelter, which turns them into ingots and comes out here in this chest. Now, we needed oxygen for the Purification Chamber. The Electrolytic Separator turns water into oxygen and hydrogen, which we don't need yet, to fuel the Purification Chamber. There's the whole process. This is what it's going to look like when we're done in this exact arrangement. Our water is going to go right here. We need power, though, first, and this is what I've got set up for power. You'll see why I've got these weird blocks here in a minute. Yeah, this is where our power is going to go. Now, I'm not going to craft everything for you. I've gone ahead and made everything that's needed, just so you don't have to watch me craft all of these things, so we can go through as quickly as possible. But I am going to step through it bit by bit, so you need to do obviously the crafting parts, but I'm not going to skip anything. So you'll see exactly the whole process from nothing all the way to ore doubling. All right, let's get started. First thing we need is power. And we'll take all these heat generators. Heat generators are the earliest, easiest power to get. You take a look at the heat generator. It is really easy. Iron, an osmium ingot, copper ingots, and a furnace, and some planks. So it's really easy to make a heat generator. I made 5. I'm going to start with 5. You're going to need 5 or maybe even 6 for this process. And we're going to put a heat generator here. The way a heat generator works is that you put something in here, some fuel, and that burns a little and creates some power for you. But that's not the right way to use a heat generator. If we surround a heat generator with lava, it will passively create power from that lava. And so we'll take a couple of lava buckets that we have here. We need 2 buckets per generator. And we're just going to put the lava right on top. And here's why I have these blocks here. Because we need to put the lava right on top like that. And you can see it's starting to generate power. And it's producing, with 1 bucket of lava on it, it's producing 3.36 forge energy units per tick. Now we can get a little bit more out of here by shift right clicking on the heat generator with another bucket of lava, and that's like getting the 6th side. We can't put lava flowing down the front, but it does have to flow all around it. So we've got lava flowing under it and around it in the back. So 5 of the sides are covered with lava, and we lava logged it with a 2nd bucket. And now we're getting about 5 FE per tick out of this. And we're going to go ahead and do this exact same thing all the way down the row here. So let's grab the rest of these. Oh, we have the heat generators. We'll just put these all right here. And with lava buckets. And we need to break these blocks behind. We screwed that up. The lava needs to flow all the way around. There we go. We can fix this easily. Kind of made a mess of this, but you get the idea. Here we go. Okay, so that's what we needed to do. We needed lava flowing, and now we need to just get the 1 more bucket of lava in each one. Now these are producing. Okay, that's better. With the lava flowing around all the sides, it's almost 7 FE. They should all be the same. 6.84, 6.84. Now that's not a lot of energy per generator. So that's why we need a bunch of them, because we're going to be making a lot of machines, and they're going to be all running. A lot of them are going to be running at the same time. So now, from here, first thing we need to do is make a metallurgic infuser, which is also pretty cheap, furnace, iron, and osmium. Our goal is to get steel, and in order to make steel, a steel ingot comes from smelting steel dust. That was steel grit. Steel dust. Steel dust comes from enriched iron in a metallurgic infuser that has carbon in it. And enriched iron also comes from a metallurgic infuser that has carbon in it. So we need the metallurgic infuser with carbon, and we'll grab one of these for now. And we'll put it right here. Needs to be touching one of these heat generators so it fills up with power. The back is by default configured to accept power, but if you need to configure it, we can look here and see everything is an input for power. So that's why it's getting power automatically. And then we just put some coal in here, coal or charcoal, and each one is worth 10. Oh, charcoal gave us 20. And coal gives us 10? I didn't know that. Okay, charcoal's worth 20. Coal is worth 10. Okay, so we want to use charcoal, and we get 20 carbons each. And now we put an iron ingot in here, and that's going to get processed, infused, that is, with carbon. You see it's going to use up 10 carbon, and it's going to make enriched iron. Now the enriched iron, like we saw in REI, we put it back in here. It's going to use another 10. And we get steel dust. And now we take the steel dust, we put it in our furnace, and that makes steel. There we go. Now we have steel. Now from here, once we have steel, we can use steel to make basic universal cables, which is just 2 steel ingots and redstone. and you get 8 of these things. Okay, and now I've got some basic universal cables, and I'm going to connect all of our furnaces together. We're going to get close here so we don't knock our infuser into the lava, hopefully. Good. Continue our cables here. And now these cables hold, they're like batteries, so they fill up with power, and they give us some extra power as a buffer. And I'll put the metallurgic infuser back down like this. And now that's going to connect to that cable. And now all of these furnaces, heat generators rather, are powering our metallurgic infuser. So now once we make a second metallurgic infuser, we can put it right here and connect these things. So output by default is on the right, and we want, usually the default for eject is off, and we need to turn that on. And then we put the input for this one is by default on the left. And now once we put iron in here, it's going to automatically output on the right side. And we can see it's in here now. We don't have any carbon in here, so let's fill that up. And it's infusing the enriched iron, and then we're going to get our dust. And we'll smelt that, turn that into steel. And now the next thing we want to make is a energized smelter, which is basically an electric furnace. And let's look at the recipe for that. Now this requires steel casing, which is easy. That's the steel that we've been making, plus an osmium ingot and some glass. We're going to need a lot of steel because basically every machine requires steel casing. But we also need these basic control circuits. And these are made by infusing osmium in a metallurgic infuser. So we could dump the coal out, the carbon out of this infuser and put redstone in it, but that's a waste. So we're going to make another infuser, which is right here, and put this one down right here. And now this one we're going to put redstone in. To go get some, and we'll put some in here. I'm not going to fill it all the way up because we'll have a way pretty soon to get more efficient use of redstone dust. We can get 8 times this by using an enrichment chamber, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. Okay, so now we've got this with redstone in it. We need some osmium. I think I've got some osmium over here. I do. And we can see how this works. Just do one. And this is going to give us the basic control circuit, just like that. Okay, so now we can make a couple of those and get our energized smelter. Steel casing and our energized smelter, which is right here. And we're going to put this one down right here strategically. And it's connected to the power. Everything's connected to this power. And so now when this thing finishes, we automatically eject, output on the right. We configure this, input on the left. Let's turn eject off. We don't want it to go anywhere from here. And now when we put iron in here, we can watch it go from the infuser into this infuser, again, also with carbon. And that goes into the smelter. So this is basically a furnace, but it's electric, so we don't have to spend any fuel on it. There we go. Now we have steel. So we basically got our first automation machine, which is to turn iron into steel with these 3 machines. Okay, the next thing we want to make is a enrichment chamber because, like I said, we can do better than just getting 10 millibuckets from coal and 10 millibuckets from redstone by putting those things in an enrichment chamber first. Now this is basically the same recipe, so we just need a couple more basic control circuits, steel casing, iron and redstone to get an enrichment chamber, which we've got right here. And if we put this down right here, we can put redstone in here and it will enrich it. And we get enriched redstone, which we put in the metallurgic infuser. So here we have 100 millibuckets in here. We put this and we get 180. So we went from 10 per redstone to 80 per enriched redstone. So we're getting 8 times. So that's what the enrichment chamber does for us. It will also, like we mentioned earlier, if we take some raw ores, like if we take some copper, let's just take a stack. Close enough. If we put 3 raw ores in the enrichment chamber, it will turn it into 4 dusts for that ore. So here's our first multiplying of ores. We get 4 for 3. So at this point, we should never smelt directly any ores. We should put them in the enrichment chamber first. Because now we can take these 4 and put them in the smelter, and we'll turn those into copper ingots. So we took 3 raw coppers and turned them into 4 copper ingots, just like that. But that is not good enough. We don't want 4 for 3. We want 2 for 1. So here we are going to work on this. So let's grab that bucket of water, put it in this spot right here, which we're going to put a pump and then an electrolytic separator. We're going to need some power. We've got our basic universal cables, and we'll run them right down here. We need a pump. A pump is easy to make. Oh, it's infused alloy, which we haven't made yet. So let's take a quick look at that. We take some iron. Remember, we put osmium in here, we got a basic control circuit. If we put iron in here, we get this infused alloy. Okay, so again, the pump is easy, steel casing, infused alloy, all the things we've made. And we will connect the pump right here. This goes into power, and the top is where water comes out. Now that pump is going to go up into an electrolytic separator. This is a little bit complicated to make. The electrolytic separator, it's more of this infused alloy, but it's got this electrolytic core, which is infused alloy and these dusts. Okay, so we're going to skip ahead and make the crusher first, so we can crush these ores in order to make the electrolytic separator. So the next thing we want to make is a crusher, which is some lava buckets, basic control circuits, steel casing, everything we've made. The crusher is right here, and we'll drop the crusher right here. Now the crusher, we can take an ingot and put it in here, and it crushes it into its dust. So again, the electrolytic core, we need some gold dust, we need iron and osmium dust. So we can just take those ingots that we have, make the electrolytic core, and then turn that into the electrolytic separator right here. So more of the same stuff. So we'll take our electrolytic separator, which is right here, put it on top of the pump. And you can see the pump is filling the electrolytic separator up with water. And if we power it, it's going to start making hydrogen and oxygen. Now it makes hydrogen faster than oxygen, so we just need to make sure we click dumping excess, because if that fills up, it'll stop producing oxygen. We don't need hydrogen for anything yet. It's going to fuel our jetpack. It's going to then become the next level power generation. But for now, we're just going to dump the excess. The oxygen is filling up more slowly, and that's going to come out here right into a purification chamber, which is something we haven't made yet, which is an advanced control circuit, but that's just infused alloy and basic control circuits. So all stuff we've made, and we put the purification chamber right here in this spot, and it fills up instantly with oxygen. It's already configured properly for gases to input on the left. And so now when we put a raw ore in here, it's going to turn it into, need to power it. Copper clumps. And it takes, this is already configured to output on the bottom, but we can configure it right here with eject on. And now the crusher is turning these 2 copper clumps into dirty copper dust. So that is going to be pushed into an enrichment chamber. We've already made one of those. We've got another one here. We put that right here. And now the dirty copper dust come in here because the input is on the left. And this is set up for eject on with output on the right. And this is cleaning the copper dust into just copper dust. And copper dust just needs to be smelted. We've already made a smelter as well, but we've got another one right here. Let me put that right here. It needs power. And it's turning the copper dust, as we've seen already, into a copper ingot. Okay. And now we need to get stuff out of here and also stuff in here. So let's take these two barrels and use them. And this one, we need a block to stand on. Put one barrel here. And this is going to input into this purification chamber. Now, machines can't pull from barrels. They can push into barrels, but they can't pull from barrels. So we're going to need a logistical transporter, which is basically an item pipe. We put that there. Now, it's not going to automatically pull out of here if we put the raw copper in here, because it's not configured. The logistical transporter has to be configured to pull from non-mechanism machines, like a barrel. And for that, we have a configurator. Now, the configurator is a little bit complicated to make. It's an energy tablet, which is infused alloy gold, so it's kind of expensive, but not that big a deal. It does need to be charged, though. Mine's already charged, but if we open up a heat generator, we can put it in this slot right here, which charges it. And now we configure the configurator by crouch scroll wheel, and we need it to be configured for items. You can see that in the mode down the lower left. And now it can configure the item pipe. And the item pipe has a few different configurations, and it has these segments on it, so you have to click on the right segment. So the one that's touching the barrel, you shift right click, and now this is the pointy bit is to push into the barrel. And if it looks like a funnel, it's going to pull from the barrel. And we can hit it again, and it's going to disconnect it entirely. So we have to, in this case, click on this face right here to get it back again and again to pull. And now it's pulling all the raw copper out and putting it into this purification chamber. Okay. And now one more barrel. We can put this right here. And it's not going to actually go through here into the barrel because it's not configured for that. But if we just want to be thorough and make it look better, we can configure this one to be not connected at all. And now we need to right click and configure this smelter so that it's the output on the top and eject is on, and then it's going to push the completed ingots up into that barrel. And there we go. We've got our ore doubling. Things go raw ores in here, doubled ingots out here. And you can see that we're struggling for power a bit here. See here, it's working, but it's not working at full speed because we don't quite have enough power coming out of these 5 heat generators. So we definitely need to upgrade our power. Heat generators are not the way to go long term, but they're a good way to get started. Okay, so there you have it. This is basically what I do every time I start up with the Mekanism mod. Put all these machines down, get some heat generators going, and set up ore multiplication. So I hope you found this helpful. If you liked it, please like the video. Subscribe to the channel to keep up on this Valhelsia 5 series. We got a lot to cover in upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. I appreciate you.